I want to turn our attention back to Singles Day, though, because it looks like we're going to have ourselves a record sales tally there, above 70 billion in terms of the pace we're seeing right now. I want to chat how big the sales event actually is with the vendors selling through on that. You know them well if you're well-versed in music. Fender Musical Instruments CEO Andy Mooney joins us right now. And Andy, appreciate you coming on. I know you've been involved in Singles Day for quite some time here, but I'll play the skeptic here in terms of saying how big are these one-day events really when it comes down to it. So talk to us about what you've seen through Singles Day and how big it is for Fender.
Well, our business overall in China has been growing at double digits for a number of years now, but our business with Tmall and Alibaba has actually been growing at triple digits. We've been involved in Single Days for the last 3 years, and it can represent as much as 25% of the annual retail business with Alibaba. So it's a big day.
Andy, one thing I want to get to here, because we are talking about Singles Day. Yes, it is the biggest shopping day, but this has kind of been overshadowed by what regulators have come out with over in China. And one of the concerns seems to be just the pricing of products, that there is, for example, with Fender, it would be a guitar that would be priced differently according to the customer and depending on the data that's on them. Have you seen anything like that? Have you encountered any concerns working through Tmall, some of these other platforms?
No, the presentation that we have on Tmall is a Fender branded presentation. We control pretty much everything that's on the site. So we determine the prices. They're the regular retail prices that everyone else would have access to. Singles Day, there's usually discounting done. So the prices are likely to be lower for anybody who shops on any brand on Singles Day, but there's no manipulation of prices that we're aware of by individual consumer.
And when we talk about, looking past Singles Day, I mean, obviously this is all coming during a pandemic. We've already seen e-commerce sales surge across the board, not just through Alibaba. We've been seeing that play out for most of the year. For you guys, though, what kind of boost have you seen tied to that? As I assume, myself included, people have a lot more time on their hands to maybe try guitar out, try a bunch of hobbies out. So what have you seen this year?
Yeah, when the lockdowns went into place in March, I never would have predicted in my wildest dreams that the company was going to end up having a record year. But in fact, that's what's going to happen. People really use their time to invest in themselves, and learning how to play a musical instrument, a guitar in particular, seemed to be near the top of their list. So we've seen an absolute tsunami of new players coming into the market, and our biggest issue now is just finding supply to meet the increased demand.
Yeah, Andy, what's interesting looking at some of your numbers is that it's not just on the lower ends or the new entry consumers that are buying up guitars. You've seen a big pop on the higher end as well. You said the only concern really is to be able to keep up with demand. How have you had to adjust your operations in light of the big boost that you've seen?
Well, in our own factories, we've had, of course, to put in protocols to kind of ensure the safety of our employees. So within our own factories, we're definitely seeing reduced output per hour or per man. And there is limitations to the actual quantity that we're going to be able to get out this year. On our kind of OEM supply, mostly from Southeast Asia, we've just been finding incremental capacity. And we've been able to do that quite successfully, but we're literally running at full tilt to keep pace with demand through the end of this year and the beginning of next.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a saxophone guy in lockdown myself. I tried to pick that up. But when we look at guitars, I haven't kept pace on the pricing that's come from this. But I assume, the additional challenges for you guys is adding to pricing pressure there. We've talked about inflation and the fact that more people are turning to actually buying physical products rather than services. So on the pricing front, what have you seen in terms of, I guess, having to increase the total cost to the end consumer here when it comes to guitars?
Yeah, there's no doubt that costs are going up. Labor rates are going up on multiple fronts: California, South America, Southeast Asia, and then the costs of production are going up because of the impact of COVID, again, without a doubt. So you're going to see some significant price increases from us going into the spring of next year.
And Andy, to the broader question, in an industry that you serve, there's a lot of questions about just how long it will be until people can go out to concerts again, how long until live events will return. What's your sense right now? There seems to be so much excitement around potential vaccine coming to the market, but are we looking 6 months down the line or even longer until we can go out to concerts the way we did pre-pandemic?
Well, I'm not sure I have a really great crystal ball on that, but we're optimistic that we'll see the return of outdoor live festivals coming around Memorial Day of next year. Perhaps even the return of kind of modified indoor concerts around Labor Day. But we are already aware that all of the big acts, they are desperate to get back on the road. They're already planning their tours for spring of 2022. And actually even getting a large concert venue space for 2022 is becoming tight. So music will come back, live music will come back strong. And in the meantime, all of those artists have been locked up in their studios. You're also going to see a tidal wave of creativity get unleashed here in the back end of next year and the front end of the following year. And they've also been buying a lot of recording equipment. One of the things we've seen a boost in sales to artists, and we've also seen a big boost in home recording equipment. So the artists are not idle; they're continuing to create at higher levels than any time in history.
Yeah, and hopefully we get back to that soon because these virtual concerts just don't hit the same, man. It doesn't sound as good, but I appreciate you coming on to give us that. Look forward to it. Andy Mooney, Fender Musical Instruments CEO. Thanks again.
Thank you. My pleasure.